Hello ladies, thanks for joining me today. The pose that we're going to work on today is our goddess pose. So we'll start in standing. You don't have to have a mat today, so don't feel you need to roll it out if you don't have it handy. And we'll take our feet nice and wide. So we'll take our feet pretty well as wide as you can. And don't feel like you have to make sure you're doing the splits, but just a really good wide stance. And then turn so that your toes and your knees are pointed in the same direction. And it will start to bend into our knees once you start to really sink in. And once you start to bend into your knees, you start to get really strong in the pose. And that's the whole purpose of this pose. And hands to the tops of our thighs. So before we really begin, so check in with all the corners of your feet. Make sure that you're using all of your toes and the ball of your feet and also the heel. And just kind of keep that steadiness in your feet at all times. And I'll remind you throughout. And then we start to kind of stack from there. So as you bend your knees, your buttocks is going to sink down. So we want to keep our torso nice and upright. You might tilt a little bit forward and hinge a little bit at the hips, but we want to keep ourselves just as long as we were here as well. So just because we're bending, it's kind of like when you fold a piece of paper, it's still the same length even though we're folding. So we keep this length no matter what. Once you start to find hands to your tops of your thighs, notice how strong you are here. So I always kind of check out how strong I am, especially into the tops of my thighs. And then we're going to start to even lower down maybe just a little bit more, but we're going to continue this. So we're strong into our feet and legs, so really press down, really strong into the tops of our thighs, and really strong even into the buttocks. And this is more engagement into the lower part of the buttocks, not so much in the upper part. And from here, adding arms as well. So strong here into our fingers. And you can kind of see it looks like I'm flexing my muscles a little bit here. So I'm even using a lot of arm strength as well. So everything gets really strong. So don't forget the abdominal wall. So we're going to draw those muscles in and up at the same time. And then we're also going to add our pelvic floor. So as you're drawing up, draw up from the pelvic floor, and then you can start to sink down. So if you're starting to feel fatigued, that's okay, we'll come up. And I kind of like to use this practice as kind of a way to kind of prepare us a little bit for labor or any kind of task that we have to do. It's kind of acknowledging how important rest is. So even though we're really strong and mighty, we're in a resting position now, so we can be soft. So just allow your body to support itself, but don't feel like you need to be strong here. Just let this be rest. And we'll kind of go through that a little bit more. So same thing. So we're going to go back into our strengthening into the tops of our legs and into our feet. We're going to draw abdominal muscles in and up. And as you're drawing up, draw up a little bit on your pelvic floor. That's going to bring you up a little bit taller. Shoulders down, but then arms nice and strong. Once you're here, you can start to sink a little further. You might engage more into your buttocks to help support you here. That's perfect. Even weight into your feet, lots of breath. One more breath here. We'll slowly make our way up. And then we slowly soften as we slowly lower down. Nice, calming, soothing breaths here. So just as strong as you just were. Match that with relaxation. Deserve it a little bit. Let's do it one more time, because sometimes I think just whenever I start to get into it, then my instructor tells me it's time that we're done. So let's do once more. So we start to bend into our knees. So buttocks starts to sink down. So you start to engage a little bit. So you start to draw up and engage abdominal wall, pelvic floor. So everything's nice and strong all throughout here. And then we add our arms. So even fingers are strong here as well. So even like our fingers are spreading further apart, or maybe like they're trying to grip something as well. Nice and strong, even into our arms and shoulders. One more good breath here. We'll slowly start to come up and we're going to soften and relax. Let me just use that relaxation. So just as strong as you just were, now be just as relaxed. Still using your feet. We'll slowly start to heel toe our feet in. And that is our goddess pose today. So thank you very much for joining me. I always enjoy it. Thank you.